Why does it sometimes feel so hard to attract clients who truly value your work? Is it really about more followers, a flashier offer, or shouting louder in a crowded marketplace? What if instead you could consistently draw in aligned clients, people who show up ready to work with you without burning yourself out? Let's talk about how. Hey there, welcome to the HerBusiness Podcast. I'm your host and the CEO of HerBusiness. My name is Susie Daphnis, and I want to know if you're ready to hear the answer to the questions that I asked at the top of the show. The questions were, do you need a bigger audience? Do you need more followers? Should your offers be flashier? Do you need to shout louder to stand out from the crowd, or is the market simply too crowded for you? The answer is a big fat no to all of them. The market is not too crowded, despite what people tell you. You don't need to shout louder. You don't need a bigger audience or more followers on Instagram or to change your offer altogether. What you need is to speak the right language to the right people. That sounds pretty simple, right? But it's not really. But that's what we're talking about on this episode of the HerBusiness Podcast. And I cannot wait to go deeper on this issue with you because it plagues every business owner I've ever worked with, but it can be overcome. And I know this topic all too well because it was a major issue for us at HerBusiness, because for the longest time, we wanted to support women at all stages of business. We wanted to appeal to everyone. We wanted to have all the conversations, use all the strategies, make all the offers, be a resource for anyone who considered themselves a woman business owner. And it didn't go that well. It actually became impossible to hit the right message in our marketing to bring in the right clients. We weren't specific enough. We weren't niche enough. And the needs are vastly different in our world for someone who's just starting out in business versus someone already generating revenue and looking to grow. And so eventually we knew that we could go a whole lot deeper and provide more value by focusing in on a specific type of business owner. And when we got clear on who we were and who we were best suited to help, our messaging became sharper, our offerings became more transformational and simplified actually, and the right women started showing up, women who were ready to grow, to invest in themselves, to implement. Now, it felt super risky narrowing the field, but what we gained was quality over quantity, which meant a richer experience for members, deeper engagement, and ultimately better results for our community. So we no longer had to water things down to cater to business owners at every level. We could have high-level conversations. We could really go there with our conversations. We could introduce more strategic tools, and we could trust that our members could handle them and run with them. And that's the power of niching down and narrowing your focus. When you get clear on who you serve, you create resonance. And that's exactly what happened for us. We started attracting exactly the women that we love working with, those who are committed to building a scalable, profitable, and sustainable business that makes an impact. Now, those women, to be really honest, are not as plentiful as those who are just starting out or those who have an idea for a business. And that's been a mindset shift for me to deal with and for our team to deal with. And so we started to look for fewer but deeper relationships. And that's the process we're going to unpack in this episode. How to go from being general to specific, how to go from trying to be for everyone to actually being perfect for your specific client. How to create offers that resonate more deeply, and how to attract your right fit clients without shouting louder or having to be everywhere online, showing up all over the place. So let's start with what happens to most businesses in the first few years. We start our business, we try to be everything to everyone, in most cases. What actually happens when you're trying to appeal to a wide group? Well, first, your message gets diluted because you're trying to say all the things to all the people and catch everyone, in your net. And we end up resonating with no one. And it's like throwing glitter into the wind, right? It looks like a lot, it's flashy, but none of it truly lands or makes an impact. You end up working with people who drain your energy, who question your value, who question your prices, who aren't ready for what you offer. And you can experience that time after time, and it makes you question your business and your value altogether. And so your marketing becomes inefficient because you're spreading yourself across too many platforms, creating too many different offers, and your conversion rate can suffer because there's no clear match between you and your audience. Now, does that mean if you are going broad that you're not getting sales, you're not filling your books? Not necessarily. And that might be you, but it can be over time, it really wears you down. Because your appointment book or, whatever that equivalent is for you is filled with the wrong people. And you get overwhelmed with the quality of output that you have to produce because maybe you're getting low engagement or low conversions and you feel like you're working really hard for very little return where you could really turn that around. But why do we fall in that trap in the first place? Well, there's a few reasons. One is the fear of missing out. We think if I go narrow, I will miss out on opportunities. There's a lack of clarity around who you truly want to serve in the early days. In the early days, you might still be figuring it out. So it's normal to keep your options open while you test the waters. And sometimes there's external pressure. The number of times that I have been asked, why don't you also include men? No, that's not what we're for. Right? And hearing that external input, while it's given in good faith, can be flattering, but it's not always really helpful. And that makes you doubt your message. It makes you unclear on your ideal client. You don't want to be a generalist. You want to be a specialist. The more narrow your niche, the easier you can be the person who's looking to the solution that you have. So let's dive into some of the fears and doubts that can come up. So one of them is, what if I turn away potential income? This is likely the number one reason that business owners go broad, and it's an understandable fear. If there are more people we can serve, if there's more revenue to be brought in, why wouldn't we want that? But here's the thing, those potential clients you're thinking about, then may not be a good fit for you. And that's the truth of it. And we do have to say no to some people. And in saying no, you're actually making space and depth for your yeses. And the way that you can be saying no can be by the way that you define your offers. It can be by your price points. It can be in your messaging. But another doubt that creeps in is, am I even good enough to own this space? Is there room for me? And that's just the imposter syndrome kicking in. We think, who am I to call myself a specialist in this area or the go-to person? Who am I to say that I'm the best solution for this client? But you don't have to be the best in the world to claim a niche. You just need to be the right fit for your ideal clients. And I know inside of our HerBusiness network, we have multiple people who are in the same industry, naturopaths, business coaches, e-commerce retailers, but they can each stand apart because they have a slightly different ideal client. So I want you to trust in the value that you uniquely bring, in the services and products that only you can provide. Right? We're calling this the year of the offer, and we've done a lot of work this year already helping our members craft offers that sell, craft compelling, high converting offers. And part of that is being very specific about who the offer is for. So you want to own your niche and really claim it. Even if you're trying it out, even if it's like, I don't know if this is the right niche, just go deep, just for a while, see what happens. Because, spoiler alert, you may never be 100% ready. The other question that comes up is, what if I pick the wrong niche, right? And I've had that thought myself. I was like, there's so many women who are new in business. Surely I should just cater to people who want to start a business. There's a lot more people than women who are doing over $100,000 who want to continue to grow and want to grow a 7-figure business. Totally different. So what if I pick the wrong niche might be a question that you're asking. And this kind of fear can keep you stuck in indecision. And clarity doesn't come in those moments of indecision. It's when you take some action. So let me say it again, clarity comes through action. Once you dive into the water, once you test it out, it's going to be clear if that is the right space for you. Murky water will become crystal clear, but only if you are in it, right? Not if you're sitting on the side, hand on chin going, I wonder what would happen. It's always going to look murky from the shoreline. So you want to get in. You want to get in and go deep. And that process can take some time, and it can take some experimentation to find the perfect niche for you. I'm still looking at the perfect niche for me. I think I'm there. I think I'm very close, but we can always get better and better and better at identifying our ideal client. And here's what happens when you do. It becomes abundantly clear. It feels energizing. Things start to flow. You no longer feel drained. Instead of feeling like work, your interaction feels like flow. And you leave those client calls or interactions feeling uplifted, excited, not second-guessing yourself, not depleted. And what happens is you build your confidence. You stop over-explaining or trying to prove your value. There's trust. They see your expertise. They see your excitement and passion. They follow your process, your model, your way of doing things, your suggestions. They implement. And that's when they start to see the results happening for them. And guess what becomes easier when we do this? Because when we're not doing this, our message isn't landing. We have to speak the language of our dream clients. Because what becomes easier is our marketing. It's like you're finally speaking the same language. You know what your ideal clients need to hear, and they recognize themselves instantly in your message. And when you feel that alignment, you want to do your best work. You're inspired to go the extra mile, to innovate, to serve more deeply, to do more, because you care about these people and the impact that you're making on their lives. And there's a sense of, these are my people. When you hear me talk about our HerBusiness members and I tell them that I love them, it might sound like a weird thing to do in business, but I truly do. These are my people. I see them, I value them, I understand them. And it doesn't ever feel like a transaction. It feels like a connection. And that's what you want to be aiming for. That alignment, that joy, that inspiration and the creativity and the passion that you get from doing what you love really, really well. Now, if you're listening to this podcast, it's likely that you are not a newbie in business. It's probably not your first year in business. It's more likely to be your second or third or fifth or 10th or 15th. And it's likely that by now you've figured out your ideal client, who you really love to work with, who can afford you, who appreciates what you do. And you can probably also resonate with the feelings that come when working with them because you've had enough of them now. And what I mean by that is you've had enough different clients that you know what you like. Not that you've had enough of your clients. So you've had those moments of alignment and excitement and the, yes, these are my people feeling. So if you already know your ideal client, then why are you struggling to consistently attract them? Why might you be having trouble speaking their language? Why aren't they recognizing themselves in your marketing? Well, this is where a common mistake comes into play. Your clients are not waiting for you to shout louder, to dance better than your competitor. This is something that people do when they don't see results, when they can't see their marketing working. They think they need to be louder. They think they need to be more visible. And yeah, look, I'm all for women being more visible, but you don't need to be louder. You need to be clearer, right? You want to reflect their thoughts, their emotions, their daily struggles, their pain points in your messaging and to offer a path forward that feels made for them. So you're not just telling them about their struggles, but you're also showing them by demonstrating, because you've worked with other clients, how you can turn things around for them. That's where the real connection happens and consistent clients start to flow when they start to see themselves in the work that you do. And there are different ways to speak their language. Firstly, you want to use their words, not yours. And this is something that Michelle Falzon and I teach inside of the Marketing Success Mastermind program. And that is that you want your message to come from your market, not from your mind. What does that mean? That means that when you are using language, ideally you've sourced it from ideal client interviews, from feedback forms, from customer service calls, from interviews that you've done, because you're from comments you see in Facebook groups, whether you're ideal client. And so that might sound simple, but we don't want to be using marketing blah, blah, like just marketing language. We want to be using our ideal clients' language. And I've used this example before, but I think it's a good one, so I'm going to share it with you now. One of our members, Angela Council, she's a menopause coach, and she knew that a lot of people were coming to her because they wanted to lose weight. She did not want to be known for weight loss when there's so many other things that she could do to support women through this stage in their life and their business. But she noticed some language that the clients were using, and that was that they wanted to get rid of their meno belly. That's what they were referring it to. This wasn't a word that she was using in her marketing, but she started to use it in her lead magnets, in her online classes, and people just started to show up because she had identified the language that they were using. And likely there's ways that your clients talk about their problem, whatever their problem is that you solve, that you could be using in your marketing. Here's what your clients care about. They want you to describe your offer in a way that has them know that you understand what they're experiencing, that they are frustrated. What are they typing into Google? What words are they using in direct messages to you or in emails to your help desk? So if they're saying, I am overwhelmed with content creation, and you're a content creator, you don't want to say, I'll help you develop a strategic editorial framework. You'll say, let's stop the content chaos. Let's make your content creation simpler. Let's take the overwhelm out of creating content. Slightly different, but you're just really speaking the language they're speaking. And the next piece of messaging I want you to implement is to mirror their problems and their desires. Yes, speak to their pain points. That's marketing 101. But also reflecting their hopes. What do they want to feel? Is it freedom? Is it clarity? Is it growth? Is it belonging? Use that language because you know it's their language. Again, we don't want to be making it up. Then get clear on where they are now and where they want to be. They need to see themselves in the before state and know that your offer is going to take them to the after state. And you want to paint both those clearly in your messaging. And then guess what happens? What gets them from before to after? Your offer, right? And we said this is the year of the offer inside of Her Business. So crafting compelling offers. I'm going to give you a link to an episode of the Content Sells podcast, the podcast I do with Michelle Falzon, that is all about compelling offers. I'm actually going to make myself a note right now as I'm talking to you. Because when you paint the before and after, it becomes clear to them that the results are attainable. They just need to take one action to get there. And that action is to work with you. So I mentioned Angela. I'm going to mention her again. And because her story is phenomenal. It's what happens when you really lean into who you're here to serve, when you niche down and stop appealing to everyone. So Angela had been working in the health and wellness space for years, helping women with hormonal health. And for a long time, her message was pretty broad. She wanted to help all women feel better naturally. And that wide focus meant she was getting results, but she wasn't quite hitting the numbers that she wanted in her revenue. And her marketing at times felt a little bit scattered. It was getting to be a crowded marketplace, the menopause space. And so she made a turn. She took a new path. She got super clear on her ideal client, and they were women in perimenopause and menopause who wanted a natural, empowered approach to managing their symptoms, who were ready to embrace aging as a powerful new phase in life rather than something to fix. And let me tell you, she owns that niche. And when she made that change, everything shifted. Her messaging became sharper, her offers became more relevant, her content started to speak directly to the women she could help most. She even gave herself permission to ditch platforms and strategies that didn't align. And here's what happened. Her email list grew, her visibility increased, the number of people coming to her courses increased. But then she went even more niche. It wasn't just women in perimenopause who wanted a natural approach. There were women who did not want to do hormone replacement therapy. So she went very, very specific. Now, did that mean that she left some money on the table? That's what it would sound like, right? But it didn't. It just meant that she became the go-to person for women who wanted that sort of solution. Angela stopped trying to be for everyone. She became magnetic to a very specific group of women. And so not only was it easier for her to grow her business, but it also became more fulfilling to run that business. She was working with her more ideal clients. But there was something that Angela had to get past that all business owners who want to niche down have to deal with, and that's saying goodbye to vanity metrics. That's the follower count, the likes, the list size, right? Because we can have 1,000 people in our online pop-up challenge or on our email list, but if they're not the right client, then we are just sort of throwing spaghetti against the wall and it's not sticking. It's easy to get caught up with the numbers, especially when those metrics are so visible. And we found the same thing. We've built email lists of thousands and thousands and thousands of people and even run free events for thousands of people. But if they're not the right clients, they're not going to buy your offer. They're not going to stay. They're not going to refer their friends, etc. The truth is 10 aligned, ready-to-buy clients will do so much more for your business than 1,000 passive followers who never buy anything. So if you're prioritizing quantity over quality, you're building a crowd. But that crowd isn't a client base. They're not really leads. And being drawn into these vanity metrics, these impressive numbers, is normal, right? We all want to see those numbers going up and up and up. They're kind of a validation. They feel like proof that we're credible or that we're making it. But remember, this is your business. You make the rules. You don't need a million eyes on you. You just need enough of the right ones. But getting away from that desire for vanity metrics is easier said than done, managing that desire. And it starts with shifting your definition of success. So instead of asking how many people saw this, ask, did the right person take action? And a direct message from an aligned prospect, a client who refers you, someone saying that's exactly what I needed to hear, they are the signs of traction that really matter. Connection is the best metric that you can base your marketing success on, that people are connecting with your messaging. And of course, you can also set internal goals that aren't public facing, like conversions and engagement and client retention, metrics that actually grow your business. So your social media feed, like mine, is probably filled with people who want to go viral. They want to get as many eyeballs as possible on their offer. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to surround yourself with people who value depth over reach. That's where the real momentum lives. And that's why you want to be inspired by and witness every day. So if you go now and you look at our Instagram channel, depending on when you look, you're going to see a few thousand people. It's not the most popular business account on Instagram. However, we're a 7-figure business. And so I know what we value. We value helping clients deeply. We value creating a role model of a business that is sustainable, that has been around for 30 years, that is helping women, that is making an impact. I want to share a story about one more woman who really found her stride when she niched down and stopped trying to reach everyone and started talking specifically to her people. And that's the beautiful Tasha Jennings of Conceived Baby. Now, she's a naturopath as well, but very different to what Angela does. Her focus is on helping women conceive. Now, she realized in her naturopathy practice and through her own personal life experience that women were having unexplained infertility. Women were trying everything. They felt overlooked by traditional medicine. They were searching for a more personalised and empowered path to conception. So Tasha made the move to niche specifically into fertility and then niche even downer into the often misunderstood area of unexplained infertility. And that move changed everything for her. Her podcast became hyper-relevant to the exact women she wanted to reach. Her offers, including supplements and consultations and programs, they were suddenly deeply aligned with what her ideal clients were already looking for. And perhaps most importantly, her credibility and her visibility shot up because she wasn't trying to be all things to all people. She became the go-to person for a specific woman with a very specific change. And her notoriety is on the rise. Her visibility has grown, as I said. She's been featured in national media. She's just about to be in a national documentary. Her consultations are often booked out, and she's created a business model that now supports her and her family. And all that is due to her owning her expertise and committing exclusively to her ideal clients. Her people trust her, and that trust is building her business. When we stop trying to convince the wrong people, and we stop feeling the fear of scarcity, everything gets lighter. And I know this is hard. I know this is emotional because, we need to pay our bills. We need to pay our mortgages. We want to get all the clients. But we also want to know if our message is not landing, how do we speak more to our dream clients? Where we're no longer explaining or justifying or overworking to make someone see our value. Because you don't need to do that. The right people will get it. You just need to start getting focused on speaking to them specifically. Things will start to flow. You'll feel a sense of alignment. You'll feel a sense of lightness because you don't have to be all the places doing all the things. And your fulfillment grows because you start seeing your work landing with impact and you see that you're truly making a difference. And your sense of purpose deepens. You're no longer scattering your efforts. You're building something that reflects who you are and who you're meant to serve. And that clarity is what creates sustainability. That clarity is what creates success. That clarity is what makes not just your business, but your life feel purposeful and aligned and exciting. And that's what you're doing this for, right? So what could niching down do for your business? And if you are already niched, go deeper. Write to me. Tell me how you're niching. If you're willing to have a sounding board for that. Or if you're not sure how to niche, niche, write to me. Tell me what you're doing. You can write to me at podcast@herbusiness.com, by the way. Are you speaking their language? Are you using their words? Are you painting the picture of the before and after? Are you illuminating that you are the solution for the after? I've given you a bunch of questions today. I'm here if you have any questions, right back at me. As we close out this episode, I want to say that for a lot of business owners, messaging and marketing can feel extremely stressful. You have so much that you want to say, but then when you go to say it, it can feel like you're speaking a different language from your clients. So we need to learn their language. I couldn't tell you, I have so many spreadsheets of client language. And anytime my team or I go to write some marketing, we go to that document and we go, okay, we want to talk about this topic. What is the exact client language that we're using? It'll allow you to clarify your offers in a way that leaves no room for confusion. It's how you strike a chord with your ideal clients like Angela did and like Tasha did. And so many of our members are doing because they're going deeper. Remember, we don't need all the clients. We don't need to shout louder. You could whisper your message to just a few people. If it's the right message to the right people, you will see growth. And doesn't that take the pressure down? And of course, you never want to do this journey of business alone. So I want to make sure that you have a support system or clear resources around you. That is exactly what we're here to do at HerBusiness. So if you're listening, you're not a member of HerBusiness, then I want to invite you to join us, to get on this journey with aligned women. We offer training, resources, masterclasses, opportunities for you to get feedback, to have a sounding board, to feel connected, all the incredible things that foster growth. So if you want to join us, head over to herbusinessnetwork.com and apply to be a member. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you enjoyed this episode, I would love it if you would leave us a rating or review on Apple Podcasts, or just shoot me a direct message on Instagram. You'll find us at @herbusiness. Once again, we will put a summary of today's episode, some of the key takeaways, some of the resources I mentioned, including the episodes from the Content Sells podcast and a great download that you'll love on crafting compelling offers. You'll find that over at herbusiness.com/322. That's herbusiness.com/322. If you're new to the show, subscribe wherever you're listening. If you're a regular listener, thank you so much for being here. I adore you. I so appreciate you. Join me in the next episode. We have more inspiring stories and lessons from successful female entrepreneurs. We've got some great interviews coming up. I'll see you next week right here on the Her Business Podcast. Bye for now.